Hey, it's Brett. I've had an idea for a while for my channel, and I don't know, for some reason I've tended to go other directions, but lately I really want to focus on trying to accomplish this, which is to teach music through songwriting. And the reason why I think that's important is for me, like when I was learning guitar, once I started making my own songs, it just became so easy to learn. Like everything just started to make sense. And then over the past couple of years, I've been learning Ableton Live, and sort of the same proved to be true. Where once I started making my own songs, it all just started to make sense. And I think the reason why is when you do stuff that's real, then you're having to use stuff in a real context, and you're really trying to solve your actual problems, and they're your problems. Also, it's like when you're writing a song, you're putting everything together. So you're the decision maker and you're putting all the elements together. So anyway, I've been thinking about it for a while, like how to teach this, and I've made some videos showing more my process. But really, when I was learning, I had to really have more of a formula, and I think I have to put back on my teacher hat and remember sort of where I was at a long time ago when I first started writing songs. So basically, what I'm saying is I'll try to break it down more into a process. But really, the reality is once you get good at anything, I think it becomes more intuitive, and a lot of times you don't know what you're doing. But when I was writing songs, which I want to start to show, it is possible to break this down into steps. And anyway, I'd like to help people in person too, and then anyone online. And this will take me a little bit of time to figure out the easiest way to do it. So for me, the thing that helped me the most when I was first writing songs was less is more. Like, don't try to do too much and put like a major constraint. So the first thing I would say is doing like constraints. And so what sort of unlocked it for me when I was wanting to write songs was one of my teachers. He's like, just slow down, just go home and write a song using GCD. So he's like, your assignment is to go home and make up a song using GCD. So I think that would actually be a good lesson for today is we'll make up a song using GCD. But what might happen is as you start to make your song, you may introduce some new chords or other things. So it's possible you can add to this if it makes sense. But the first assignment is going to start out with a very simple constraint, which is making a song using GCD. And the reason why this is important is that you're not really having to overthink it. And really, too, like later on, you're going to realize that these chords are everywhere. So what these chords are, just a tiny bit of music theory, is that this is the 1-4-5 in the key of G major. So this is the 1 chord, the 4, and the 5. And so when I was learning music, I got hired at a music school, and I was around a lot of advanced musicians. And they would always be like, that's an easy song, that's a 1-4-5. And it took a few years till I really understood what they mean. But essentially, most songs are 1-4-5 in some form, so that if we start out and we write a song in a 1-4-5, you'll start to recognize the sound. So the next thing is before we get into it, is I mean nowadays you have AI, you can use ChatGPT, you can ask somebody. I mean, you could look on YouTube for other videos. But sort of what I would do is once I knew the chords and the key. So the key here that we're going to use is G major, which for the guitar is, I think it's the best key to playing on the guitar. So the key is G major. This is going to be our constraint for this first song. And the chords are going to be the 1-4-5. But something that I used to do when I was trying to write songs was I would look up what notes were in the key, and I would write down the chords. And then for the chords I was going to use, I would find out what notes were in those chords. And it's really not hard to do. So, I used to just Google stuff, find it online. You could find books or whatever works. But now you could just ask ChatGPT. So the question would be like, what chords are in the key of G major? And then I would literally write them down. So that's why I'm trying to show what I would do. So what I mean is I would write down, here's the notes in the key of G major: G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp. And over time, you'll start to memorize the keys you play in the most. Also, there's some tricks, but I'm trying to keep it simple. So these are the notes in the key of G major. And then there's a pattern to the diatonic, the major scale of how the chords work. And basically the first note always ends up as a major if you're in a major key. So this is going to be the first chord is a G major. The fourth note will form a major, and the fifth. The seventh chord, which is the note before you go back to G, because then it will repeat, is a diminished chord, which you would write like this. And this is just some notation that more advanced musicians will tend to write, like on chord charts. And the rest of them are minor. So the 2 chord is minor, which I just tend to like to write it like this with lowercase Roman numerals. So anyway, like early on when I was writing songs, I would just write this down on a piece of paper. And if this doesn't appeal to you, I mean, you don't have to do it. You could just start writing the song with GCD. But to learn some applied music theory, I would always do this. So I know the notes in the key of G major are G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. So those are going to be the notes I'm going to be playing. And then the chords I'm going to use are the 1, 4, 5. So I'm going to focus on those. But if for some reason I get in the mood to add another chord, then I can add it something else. So I'm going to use this one and these ones. And the other thing that I used to do, and I would do this like a ton, like I would write like so many songs, and over time it just gets easier and easier, and then it becomes intuitive, is I would find out what notes were actually in these chords. And there's tricks to do this, but you could just Google it or ChatGPT it. So this chord, the G chord, has 3 notes. It's GBD. So at this point, I just have this memorized. And at one point, I did make like flashcards to memorize common chords. This is the 1, 3, 5 of the chord. The C chord is CEG. And there's tricks to figure this stuff out, but you can always just write it down on a piece of paper or look up a chart. I used to like to write it down, though, to force my brain to remember it. So this is the 1, 3, 5 of that chord. And then D is D, F sharp, A. And over time, you really want to have this kind of stuff memorized if you want to be able to like solo easily and know what you're doing, especially if you want to play different instruments, not just guitar. You can kind of cheat on guitar. Okay, so this is what I would write on a piece of paper. And so what I'm going to try to do is sort of, for the songwriting, is break it down into like, there'll be like a little cheat sheet. So this would be like what I would have literally written and put in front of me. And I think it's better to handwrite stuff still. It will stick in your brain more. And you don't really want to have extra information. You just want to have this, right? All right, so the next step is, I know we're going to make a song in GCD. So one thing that you always want to do if you're going to start recording songs is make sure you're in tune. It's kind of obvious, but it's really, really important when you start recording, because if you get a little out of tune, you'll regret it. So I still use this app called ClearTune. It's just a solid app, so I'm going to check. So you really don't want to be, you don't even want to be that much out of tune if you're going to record analog instruments, not MIDI. So I'm going to tune really quick. It's just slightly out of tune just from the string stretching. It's usually just a little off. So it's just standard guitar tuning. Everything's like not even a quarter note down. Oh, this I tuned to B flat. And usually if you tune like to an alternate tuning, I usually will check the strings one more time. So what I mean is, if I actually significantly change the tuning, then by the time you tune from here to here, it changes the tension on the guitar. So you just want to check it. So it should be good. Hopefully this microphone will sound good enough. So we're using GCD, and so when I was starting to write songs, again, as you do this more and more, it becomes sort of a much different experience. But when I was starting, I usually would either just decide these are the order I'm going to play the chords kind of artificially and then force myself to mix something up. Otherwise, I would just noodle around for a bit. And sometimes I would, and I want to make some videos showing how to do this in GarageBand and other software, maybe Logic as well. I'm going to use Ableton today because it's easier for me, but I never liked to play over a metronome, but I like to play over drum tracks. So sometimes I would put on the drum track first. Today I'm just gonna not do that, so I'm just gonna see if I can make something up. So what I'm gonna do is see just if I get anything that feels cool to play. And then we'll switch into Ableton. So I'm gonna do some finger picking too, and if you're not good at finger picking, you don't have to use all your fingers. You can go really far with 2 fingers. And the reason why I want to do this is to have more space in the sound so that I can add some other instruments. I kind of like that for some reason. Sounds mellow. I didn't like this, so I'm gonna do pinch on the bottom and B. I'm doing my thumb like up and down, alternate thumb. I don't like that. I just like this really mellow. Now I'll try switching to C. Sounds too boring. Let me see if I just do the C change with just the note. That sounds cool. So what I'm doing is just changing the bottom note. I'm still considering this a C chord. I just took away some notes. I don't care about the modifications. Now I'm going to go to D, which if I want to do the D, I can go maybe to here. That sounds kind of boring, so maybe the D isn't going to work, so maybe it's just going to be G. Maybe the D will just kind of pop in as a brief thing. So then sometimes when I'm making an idea, I'll just go to strumming. And the D would just be a little. And that can work. So that's enough to get the song going. I'm not going to do more. I'm going to now try to move it into Ableton, but one more time I'm going to try to finger pick the idea and then I'm going to switch. So, whoops. This sounds way more interesting to me than strumming. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and... My idea for the D was to do F sharp from the D. I could do something like this. I don't like that. This could be cool. It's gonna go to C. So G. Like that either, so maybe the idea can just be simplified and no D at all. And actually sometimes to make songs just go super simple, like 1 or 2 chords, and I do this all the time still. It doesn't have to be complicated, so I think I'm just going to leave out the D. It's just going to be over here. And if you're a total beginner, all I'm doing is I'm really just playing the lowest note of G chord and alternating like this, and then I'm picking on the B string. And then I do the same thing instead of doing the full C, just doing this. So I think that's enough. And then when we start to add drums, it's going to totally change the vibe. Okay, so I'm in Ableton. I'll I kind of want to show this whole process. So usually if I just need a beat, I really like this beat here. I use this all the time, like almost as a metronome. I think it just comes with Ableton. GarageBand has tons of little beats just like this. So usually what I do is I'll just drag this to audio real quick. It just basically has like a constant beat. And I don't play well over a metronome. I just don't like how it sounds. So to me, this is kind of the metronome. So I put it here. So that's in an audio channel. This is just a default new live set. And if you have GarageBand, you could do something similar to this. I'm just gonna use Ableton today because it's fastest for me. And then I'm gonna try to play over it. So I can't talk while I play because I'm using the same microphone, but here we go. You can see that the level's coming in here. I'm going to put it on 1 and 2. I'm going to arm the track, and I'm gonna try to play what we just made up over this. So it feels a little bit too fast. So what I'm going to do is slow the tempo down. So we'll slow it down to 80. Also, I kind of noticed wasn't feeling the high note, and I'm gonna move the C from here to here. It'll just be easier to play because I'm hitting the D string, so I have more separation. What I'm saying is what I might do is strip out the top B note entirely and really simplify this and just go. This is the C chord, which could be done here. I might pick it with my finger too. I use my fingernail as a pick a lot of times. We'll see. So let's see how this goes. So usually once I kind of know what I'm going to do, I'm going to arm the track. I'm just going to record. I'm not going to wait around. I'm just going to go for it. So we're gonna go arm it and do it. Sounds good enough. So I can always re-record this. It's so simple later. That's enough. Then since I dropped out the note, so all I'm using is G, C, and then I did kind of go to the D as I was transitioning chords, just very briefly. So one thing that I do find very inspiring is reverb. So I'm just going to add some reverb really quick. So I'm going to double click. For me, it just makes me like songs more when I add reverb. If you don't like reverb, don't do it. But I've always liked reverb and kind of echoes. So I'm going to go to audio effects. I'm going to go to delay. I'm going to go to echo. And maybe it won't sound good, but let's see. I'll just pick something that doesn't really matter. I'll see what it duplicate this track to save time. Now I'm going to play the B note just randomly, but I'm going to do a harmonic instead. So this is a trick. All the harmonics are the same as the tuning of the guitar on the 12th fret. Might have to get close to my microphone to make this sound. I just think this might sound cool. Or I might hit the top 3 strings. Or do something like this. I don't know yet. So I have to Let's see, I'm gonna arm it and go. I'm just gonna go for it. I don't tend to wait when I have an idea in Ableton. I just start recording. Okay, and then I think I went a little past. I did one harmonic here. I'm going to shrink the loop just to here. You can do all the same stuff in GarageBand. What I'm doing is very similar. Make this more echoey. Try a different reverb. Delay. Let me just try something different on this real quick, see if something else will sound cooler. I'm gonna do that sounds sick. It's kind of getting like a pulse. I like that. Okay, and then since I'm kind of feeling it now, what I'm gonna do is, I like this reverb's a little crazy, and I'm not worrying about the levels and stuff too much. I'm gonna try to jam over this really quick with just playing some notes. So if you're not very good at guitar, you could look up the notes in G major. We know we're in G major, and I'm not gonna care what, I'm not gonna try to like know what I'm doing in terms of the chords. It's so simple. I'm just gonna try to make up a melody real quick. So I duplicated the one that's not too crazy, I think. Yeah, this one has analog triplet. Did I screw that up? Let me Command Z that. So this one. So I want to duplicate this. Yeah, okay. So what I mean is I'm just gonna jam the 8th fret. I want like a warmer tone, not this. So I'm gonna play down here. So here we go. I'm not gonna overthink it. anything I like that much. So I'm gonna drag it down. There are takes, but I tend to just drag it down. I'm gonna try one more time. Keep it simple. So I heard a phrase in here that I liked, and I was kind of like do 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 do, and I decided to record that. But I'm not going to throw this away because this has ideas in it that I could maybe use. And then I noticed my notes were a little off here. What's cool with Ableton is you could fix that if you wanted. So listen. This note is off, so if you double click like another spot nearby it, you could drag that. Oops, I have to make sure I don't screw up the other one. Hold on. But basically you can move stuff around. So if I make like one more marker right here, there we go. This is off too. I mean, I could just re-record it, but this is just a cool feature of Ableton. So just move that. Now these are on the beat. Okay. Okay, so that's a pretty cool idea so far. So the song idea is almost there already, and the next thing I'm gonna do is add in some other instruments. Okay, so the song idea in the top scene here, this is a scene. It's kind of working for me. There's enough there. And then the next thing I want to do is add some bass. So I'm not going to worry about the drums. They could be improved. I'm not going to worry about all this guitar. So I'm going to actually just group these tracks, and I'm just going to say rename. I'm just gonna put, I usually just put GIT for guitar, and then I'm gonna collapse it for a second so I have to think about it. Okay, I'll just move this over here. The next thing I want to do is add a bass, and this is where knowing the music theory actually is very helpful. So if we go back to our chart for a second, and if we know, well, the chords we end up playing were G and C. And really I was just, so there's a G, there could be a G in the bass, there could be a C in the bass clearly, or I could do GBD or CEG. So knowing a little bit of what notes you're playing can be helpful, but otherwise you can always just play by ear. And a lot of times that's what I do and figure it out later. So let me get rid of this sidebar, and then let me make this bigger. Let me kind of move that. So if you hit this little headphone, we can hear the note. So I need to find a G. I'm going to put a G here, and then this does not have an instrument, so I'm going to find a bass. Just see. weird stuff. I need something more simple, like let's see, a bright bass. Way too crazy. Let me try an arpeggiated bass if there's anything. Let me try. This could be cool. It's kind of spacey sounding. All right. This is called basic sync bass. So, all right, let me. So I'm gonna want to sustain this note. So I'm just gonna play like just G all the way across, and then we'll see what it sounds like. Seems like it's too high, maybe. So let me do shift down. No. Something. It's adding like a texture underneath. I'm not sure if I'm 100% happy with it yet, but it's adding something. And then what I'm going to do is duplicate the loop. Listen for where the chord changes. I'm going to duplicate this whole loop, and then I'm going to select these two notes, and I'm going to move them up to C. You can see here it says C, G. So right here, we're going to want to add a, whoops, select, I think here it needs to go to D. So this is, the bass is just going G, C, D. It's very simple. It's just following the chords. So I'm going to, a lot of times in Ableton, I like to duplicate stuff, so I press Command D. I'm going to move it up to D. Sounds cool. And what I might do is try to add maybe an effect to make the bass stand out more. So let's see, if I type bass, sometimes there's just some quick ways to just kind of make it more punchy, or bass fattener, let's see. Simply adding something. Let's try on and off. Sounding pretty cool. And then this is my bass, here's my guitar. Sometimes when I have a lot of guitar, I'll try to throw a glue compressor on here to see what it does. Sometimes it just makes it sound almost like one instrument. Sometimes it's not cool sounding. I'm just gonna try it. It's helping to kind of bring up the levels and just smush them together, kind of flatten them out. I had to turn this down a little bit. It was overpowering the... Okay, now I'm going to make a little synth part, so I'm going to duplicate the bass. This is just faster. And now it'd be a double bass. And then I'm going to find just some synth sound. So we'll go instruments, lead. That's kind of interesting. That would be a different vibe. Spacious, maybe. This one like a texture. Oh. Nope. Oh, I know. I need a pad, not a lead pad. This could work, maybe with a tweak to it. So I'm going to double click on this. I'm going to get rid of the bass fattener. I don't need that. Okay, it's really low right now. So I'm going to do Command A, Shift up. Sounds very 80s. Let's see. Don't like it. All the way up. Sounding kind of cool now. I want it like just a texture, so I'm going to add more reverb. Just put it way in the back. And I can always change this later. I'm just trying to get most of the sounds in there. So we'll go to audio effects. We'll go... I don't know, just pick something here. I might need to actually use a reverb, not an echo. Let me do diffused long cascades. Crank this up. Kind of happy that this is doing sort of a pulse that I wasn't expecting, which is pretty cool. Actually add a normal reverb at the end of this to like smooth it out. Alright, let's see. It's getting a little weird there, but here we go. cool. I'm trying to put it in the background. I'll probably have to play around with this, and if it gets distracting, I might just remove it. But I think that's good. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the song. This reverb track on this one's getting a little wild. Still echoing, so I'd have to kind of get this under control. Sometimes what I do is I'll record this track to like another track, so I don't have to have the effects on it. So I would record this to another track as a trick in Ableton to kind of just record it to an audio track, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to mute it for a second. So I think the final thing would be to add some vocals, so I'll see if anything comes to mind. I haven't really had any words popping in my mind while I've been doing this. But there's enough melodies in here where I can just mumble a few things, and then I think the song's kind of there, and then I would maybe step away from it. But you can see all this is GCD. It's just really G and C with a tiny, tiny bit of D, and that's it. So it's very, very simple. So I'm going to click here. Let's see. Let me see. I've been using a different mic with crazy reverb, with crazy effects on it lately. Let's see how this will work. Hello, 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 hello. Just put hello. Da-da. Say. Alright, I'm gonna put an echo. It'll just inspire me, because this whole track is real echoey. So I'm gonna click on delay. If I'm just doing vocals on kind of an ambient sounding track like this, I like to have some reverb and delay. If it's more like a folky song, I wouldn't do this, but let's see. This will just be easier. It'll fit with the vibe. So, hello. So probably because it's daytime, I'm not in like a super deep thinking vibe. So I'm just gonna sing something to kind of leave it. I would probably do it again later, but yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna do, so I'm just gonna sing stuff, and then hopefully something would happen, and then I would snip that and turn it into like lyrics later. But I don't know. See, this thing gets a little wonky. I'll try to sing something about going to sleep, and then see where the lyrics go. Sometimes when I'm making music, I have very clear phrases in my brain or like a visual. Right now, I don't, and it's probably because I do better making music when I like deeper music when it's nighttime or I'm feeling something. But this is kind of not. This song sounds pretty mellow, so let's see what happens. Here we go. So I think there's enough there. The vocals at one point, I kind of sang in like too loud, so I have a feeling it's gonna be like, so I could put like a limiter or something. Let me see. Limiter or compressor. And I don't know, I was just singing phrases. Some of these things are like things I've sung on other songs I made recently, because I'm not, usually what I do is I just sort of sing until I find something, unless I'm feeling like ahead of time have lyrics or wrote something down. What I wanted to do really quick was just add like a compressor. Let me see if I type vocal, if there's like a vocal, if I do EQ, mixing. I just wanted to flatten out the sound, so let me see. Compressor. Catch the peaks, maybe. Trick I like to do when my vocals aren't, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do, I'll duplicate it and I'll throw something else on here just to change, have two kind of sounds going, and then when I listen to this it will just help. So this is a trick I've kind of found, is create like a couple sounds, and then once it sort of settles in what you're trying to do, you can start to remove stuff. Maybe distant. Okay, so this to me is just too harsh for this song. So what I'm gonna do is I either have to re-record something. I'm just looking for like a mellow vibe. So maybe I can loop just this beginning and just make it kind of a vibe, and then this was too much for me right now. It doesn't sound like where I want the song to go. So I'm gonna clip it out. I'm just gonna loop, like crop the loop to there, to there. Let's see how this sounds. Okay, I like that a lot more. I'm not going to throw stuff away because there's no need. And then what I'm going to do is duplicate both these tracks. I have one other idea I'll show people. This is kind of a trick I like to do in Ableton. And then you can arm both these tracks. I'm going to arm both of them, and I'm going to sing in the gap. I'm going to sing something in the gap, and it will just create an interesting effect. And I don't know if I'll feel more inspired, but here we go. So if you hold down Command, challenge. I made a recording and it didn't save all of the parts, so I can redo it. But essentially what I was gonna do was, I didn't really like the this, so I was gonna sing in the gap of this loop. So what I did was I watched the audio here and then I sang in the gap. Let me just try to demo it one more time. So if I need to, I'll go back to here. But essentially, like in the gaps, I'm gonna sing in the gap here. And then I'm gonna worry about the sounds later, but this is just to kind of get the song idea together, and then it needs to be actually broken up into like parts. Okay, let me try to do it one more time and see. I don't know what happened, so I'm gonna sing in the gaps, and then I'm gonna really quickly export the song and show how to do that. So I'm gonna hello, 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 hello. Listen. Okay, so I'm gonna group this. I'm gonna put Vox 1, and then I'm gonna group this. Vox 2, and then this is just sort of the seeds of the full song. So now I have a lot to work with though. So what I'm gonna do real quick is export it and maybe really quick structure it. So what you want to do in Ableton is come over here. In GarageBand it's a little different, but usually what I want to do when I make songs is take it into my car and hear what it sounds like, and then I can like come up with new ideas and come back to it. So it's not a fully finished song, but I mean there's a lot here for a short amount of time. So I'm gonna make sure that this scene is queued up. I'm gonna hit record and let it play. So here we go. Listen. so that's about 1:30, and then the next stage of this song would be to arrange it, which I have to be in the mood to do. It's a very different, it's kind of a different feel from the mindset I'm in. So I got the song idea, and usually I kind of don't mix the arranging with that, and it could have like other parts. But sometimes what I'll do, if I just want to take this to my car real quick to sort of hear how it sounds, I'll do Command A, just kind of duplicate the whole thing. Whoops. It's not going to be perfectly arranged. You can kind of see how stuff's lining up. Then what you could do if you really wanted is sort of move everything over. So you could do Command A and just move everything over a little bit, like maybe 2 bars, like eight measures, and then I could drag out like, whoops, I could maybe drag out the drums, so there'll be like a little intro. And I'm gonna need to work on the drums later, and then maybe you could hear the synth on its own. Maybe this. Oops. Now I'm just going to export it, and I'm going to remove the automation from here because this thing is a little unwieldy. So I'm going to delete automation. Then what you do is just make sure everything's on. Sometimes I unmute stuff, and then when I'm going to export it, make sure in this mode, and then I don't want automation on anything right now. And then I save the song. I should have saved it maybe as something different. Then you're going to do export audio video. The render length is not doing the whole thing for some reason, so here we go. Let me hit stop. File export. Now it looks right, 71. Encode MP3. Yeah, and then I usually export it, and then I'll just try to give it some tentative name, who you are. And then I'll usually send this to myself, and then I'll listen to it in my car, because in the car, everything will sound very different. I'll also listen to it on my iPhone, because the car has bass, the iPhone has no bass. And then I heard what it sounds like with these headphones, but I'll start to listen to it on different things to kind of hear what's going on. But anyway, that's kind of my, this is what I'd like to start to teach people. It might seem hard, but if this interests you, let me know. And like I said, I'm going to start trying to do it with people on video and get better at explaining this process. And yeah, there's a lot here to work with. This song is really simple. There's really only 2 chords, G and C. And a lot of why it sounds cool is just the effects, the reverb, the drums, which you could do actually go pretty far in GarageBand. Ableton is a much more powerful program, but that's it.